as life happens for me throughout my entire life, some some events have taken place since the last time I did an episode of My Wife Joined a Cult. Gonna reset, reframe here, reboot, restore, rejuvenate, reclaim where I am right now. I have been very happy with my own personal transformation from doing this, which I believe that's part of what this is about. I can state these intentions, and by doing so, it has more power. And my intention would be the following. This is off the top of my head. And by the way, if anyone hasn't noticed, everything is off the top of my head. I read very few things. You know, I'm going to read some text messages today and maybe some other things. I don't know. I don't know where it goes. I kind of like just listen to my instrument and I allow this genuine energy flow to happen. There's a lot going on right now. One thing I do want to, anyway, my statements are this. This is what some of the reasons this could be. I don't know exactly why I'm doing this. It could be really selfish that I want a documentary about this. But then again, though, I really do love being of service. It's something my entire life. I remember in high school, they'd say, Papa Shoe, my nickname Shoe, Papa Shoe, because I was the guy that they would go to talk about their issues, mostly with girls and things. The girls, I was always the F-word friend. The guy that they would, girls with the posse P, they'd go to the bathroom together. They took me with them. That's what a geek I was. That's also how approachable. And just this past week, I went to Philadelphia, and they all still live there, and yet they don't get together until I come back. I think, about 17 people together. No time before that, it was 40 people. Like, hey, Shu, thanks for doing this. And we wouldn't do this unless you were here. I really love to be of service to people to make sure that they're uplifted. And maybe I can transmute some pain into bliss for people in some of the ways that I've done it, which is one of the objectives of this, is I know that some of you are in pain. You're dealing with an alcoholic, a drug addict, somebody who's acting strangely, somebody who's bipolar, somebody who suddenly is shutting you out. You're wondering what's wrong. You're powerless. You feel powerless over people, places, and things. And so my whole life, in dealing with the difficulties of my life, which are many, some people go, how the hell do you do it? Resiliency is a really big thing for me, and then thriving no matter what. And you'll hear some stories today. You'll go, oh my God, he got hit again. And I did. I got whacked. I'm exhausted right now. I got whacked out of nowhere. And again, I'm going to reframe and reset this intention. Be of service. Help others. I even do that in my stand-up. Is I contemplate backstage, pray, meditate, mindful thinking that says, get out of yourself and be of service to the people that are paid money in that audience. Even if they didn't pay money, which they do, but how can I be of service to them? They might really need this right now. And I've had one example after the next. I'm friends with somebody in Florida, Courtney. Her mom died 2 hours before she came to the show anyway. And she said, well, what else was I going to do? I mean, my mom's dead. And so many people tell me that they were going to commit suicide. And it was a relief for them. It gives them reason to live, to laugh. You live to laugh, you laugh to live. So I've had that my entire life. Now I'm paid for it since high school. It's a long time ago. And so it's always a primary reason for doing anything. And do I get paid for it? Yes. Do I get paid for this? No. I doubt I will ever be paid for this. It could manifest in something. I have no idea. I show up and tell the truth. And it's not a version of truth. All of the things that I will share with you and have shared with you are actual facts that happen. It's not an interpretation of the facts, and they are all backed up. My children can back it up. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Witnesses, facts, figures, like, you can see my bank account, how she stole money and changed the bank account. There's all this, there's a paper trail on all of this, which she's frightened of. And that's why she runs. People are afraid of the truth. And they get people to collude with that. That's one of the problems we have in our society is we let government get away with it, leaders get away with it, and if somebody says something about it, you become the problem. You're the conspiracy theorist. You're the whistleblower. You're the bad person who points it out. Well, this podcast isn't for you. This is for the people who are not of that ilk. This is for the growers, the changers, the transformers, not like Optimus Prime, whatever his name was. This is for people who are willing to transmute that pain, as I said before, and turn it into something of purpose and abundance. I'm about to tell you another story that could whack me down, take me down, but it's not going to. I feel like that a long time ago, I don't know what the quote was, but Raging Bull, a really brilliant movie. I'll have to watch it again. You never took me down, Ray. That's what Raging Bull said to Sugar Ray. He never took me down. Like he did not knock him out. And I feel the same way. I don't know who I'm saying it to. Some higher source. Come on, man. Really? You're going to do it again? Wait to hear this story that's coming up. Woo! But it's also filled with enrichment. It's filled with, I'm going to share with you some of the things that I've done to get to the other side, to get to peace, to get to serenity, to get to fulfillment and mindfulness, to get to those places. You just don't got to feel it to heal it. And maybe that's what this is also about, this podcast. Maybe this is about us all getting to the other side with difficult circumstances that are so frustrating. The more I go, here's another lesson, is the more I go towards her to get her to wake up, have an awakening, no matter who it is, it also, talks to her. It's so far, when somebody's in a cult, they're so far brainwashed, there's nothing that's going to take them out of it. You might feel it politically, by the way. You might have somebody, a relative that's in a particular political persuasion or following someone. Anybody who's following anyone to the point where they can't discuss, they can't vet, process, that's a problem. And maybe this podcast is for that as well. Maybe this is to kind of bring us together, have a oneness and have an understanding. And maybe you can hear this. This is one of my things, is living in denial, painting red flags green. Whew, boy, do I suffer from that, because I want so bad to have a normal life. I want so much to have a divine, beautiful connection, with a love of my life. I really want that. And I tried it and I was not successful. I guess successful in that I got to grow each time. I got to look within and the mistakes that I make, checking out my own honesty, which is not there sometimes. So then I expect them to be honest all the time. And when I'm not, the unreasonable expectations, these are the things that I can examine within to make me a better man, person. I won't say they. I don't agree with the whole they thing. It's like, come up with another word. I'm at the point now, I'm just going to say it anyway, because you can't say that. Well, I come from, what they say, that's a group of people. Somebody was telling me what she says about, I don't even know, it's a daughter, a Thader. The Thader goes to this school. She said, they go to this. I said, oh, you have twins? I mean, it's tough to get used to because that's been a word for centuries. So now how about come up with another word? How about schmadoodle? Something where we can go, oh, that's that word. They're a schmadoodle. I digress. I do some digressing now and then. It's avoidance of pain. Avoidance of pain, by the way, I have found to be worse than the pain. I have a spiritual leader, by the way. I have a leader that really, really, the most help I've ever received in my life. He's like a mystic. He's amazing. We just had a long conversation today. So you are getting the better frequency that I'm on right now after talking to him today, doing some processing. This guy's a really wonderful man in my life that is just upper level. It's how I want to live. You want to live like that too? Maybe one of my goals is also to have you join me in these courses and coaching programs and mentorship. And I'm like a Sherpa, shift Sherpa. Maybe that's one of my goals. I sure would love it because I love building communities. I told you I have a bunch of my buddies. 8 of us golfed and then more got together. Happens so much. And it's so beautiful they expressed this to me. So I've always wanted to build a laugh mob and build a group. And I shouldn't say want to, I've done this in my Enlightened Up group and so on. But this seems to be headed towards an upper level, gigantic movement based on you being attracted to the subject matter, which I sure am. That's all I watch is documentaries. I've watched so many of the true crime documentaries. Some crimes have happened, by the way. Emotional crimes are crimes as well, especially when the perp acts in the way that Lotus does and the person I'm about to tell you about. Am I avoiding getting to it? Yeah, I really want to stay close to the intentions because people do wonder and they're skeptical and judgmental. I will thank you, by the way. Most people have expressed gratitude and thanking me for the courage that it takes. And I'm not going to pat myself on the back on the courage thing, but I do think courage is important in our society and it's undervalued. I don't mean courage like, going to war. Yes, it's very courageous, but I'm talking about courageous enough to really go deep within to those pain spots and be willing to shift. Like I said, I'm a shift Sherpa. That's what I dig, doing that to myself and then helping others do the same thing. So it could be that. It could be that my biggest goal has always been that somebody listens and goes to her dad who has money and says, look, I offered to pay for this, by the way, many, many times, and I still will, for Lotus to go get help. And this is going to take severe help. She claims she's getting it now. She's done that before, and it's just a lie. It's a wellness grifters. They go to another kind of wellness program that isn't vetted or doesn't have any success record. It certainly doesn't have any record of time. That's the whole thing with the whole wellness community. It's all theoretical. There's no data to support it. They live in this airy-fairy world where they acknowledge one another and just the phoniness, and they really think it's real. Lotus believes that this is real. She believes she got out of a toxic relationship. She believes that she got out of control. She believes she got out of manipulation. She believes that she got out of this man. Now, that's something I can't say. I said before that I tell the truth. I can't say that is completely the truth, that I'm not any of that. I can't say that because somebody's perspective is that. Somebody could consider my powerful demeanor to be abusive, whatever they want to tag it. I mean, I'm ready to defend myself on all that stuff, but that's their reality. That's the stories that they create. And I will tell you, one of the subjects I'm going to approach here, which I didn't know that this podcast was going to be about, this is the men-women relationship. Wow. And I am of an understanding of compassion for women. I get it. I was raised a feminist. Talking my act, I go, I'm a little boy in history class going, his story, what about her story? It's her story. This is my perspective was only for females. Single mom, who, by the way, what's oddly enough, though, is much more about men and patriarchs. That's what's really odd about it. I used to fight her about it. I never even understand how she could go that direction. She likes men way more than women. But one thing I didn't listen to her that I am getting, and she said this many times, she would let me have parties, but no girls. She did not like if the girls were there. And what she told me, and I believe this now, it's become true, is girls are much more manipulative and shrewd and cunning with a very insidious agenda that there's no feeling. That's the odd thing, is women have these feelings and men allegedly don't have the feelings. Well, I got a lot of feelings. I was talking to my advisor today. The one thing I have not done, this is an admission, is cry, like a good cry. He's encouraging that, and I might get to that. I'm not going to say I'm going to do it now or here. I don't know the answer to that. But I will tell you, it's definitely needed. I mean, I look around sometimes at these children, and it does almost cause me to cry. I remember when they were vulnerable, and they were crying, and with the alleged intervention with Lotus and their mom. And I was, way to go. I was so proud of them. And when she screamed at them and went nuts and jumping up and down and blaming me, it was so painful that I almost was in tears, but I didn't want them to see me vulnerable like that. And I took them away to safety. And I'm going to also go by some feedback that I've been getting and try to answer some of the feedback. One of her very good friends married a really nice guy. And I posted something about this podcast, and he said something to the, like, when are you going to get over it, or when are you going to heal? Like, oh, Jesus Christ, he says, when are you going to, I don't know the specifics. That's what I got out of it. And I understand that. Who the hell wants to hear that? And people want you to get to the end. They want you to get to the, the answer. Well, it's a process. That's what this podcast is about. It's a process. And I decided, by the way, I'm going to do more episodes. It doesn't have to only have the topic of telling stories about the things that she's done. But one of the things that somebody said was they were waiting for me to get to the cult leader's boyfriend, Broke's boyfriend, Rundle, the threats that he has made to me. And this is when things are, this is when you could take this to the law. These are threats. And the fact that Lotus put him up to it, gave him my number, gave him this information you're about to hear, this perceptive information, the fact that she did that and continues to be okay with that when I've told her the solution for me would be, let me see you write them a letter that says the truth of who I am, who she texts me. I could read those texts as well, loads of them. What a great person I am, a great man and generous and all of those things, inspiring and creative and hardworking. Oh my God, the list is endless. But she won't tell anyone else. And I said, that would be a solution to repair some of this damage. She's caused a lot of damage. But somebody who's brainwashed will not acknowledge that, and she will not acknowledge it. She doubles down with the resentment and the perception that I'm the problem and she needed to get out and so forth, and she's got her sovereign freedom and all of that. And I get it, because I was that guy who would fight for women and say, that's not fair, that's not right. I'm starting to see another side of this. I'm starting to see that I think the pendulum went too far. Like the Me Too movement got into bad dates were being reported. To me, of course, and then I believe her. I was the guy that was saying, I believe her. I am telling you unequivocally, that statement needs to be dropped. I have a friend who's not my friend anymore because he believed someone. Didn't check with me. Took me 2 years to finally get through to him to find out what the truth was. He was lied to by a woman who was playing him. This is one of my best friends. Doesn't speak to me. It was based on what he says. He called me Harvey Weinstein. I mean, it was just, he just believed it. He believed the story. And when you're talking about somebody that looks like me, acts like me, powerful, and dynamic. People have told me I'm dynamic. I must be, because I've done really well in the top of the food chain in comedy and awards and everything else. And I've done very well from nothing. So that probably says to people there's going to be jealousy and envy. There's also going to be anger, misplaced rage that hasn't been worked on, because I'm that guy, the enemy for centuries. And I get it. That's the patriarch. I defended that. Not anymore. I can't do that anymore, because that's making assumptions, because I know who I am. I'm not I'm not that they're responding to. I can walk into a room and they can feel like that. 2 words out of my mouth on comedy stage, you see a couple people in the front who are not digging this straight white male. I'm a non-practicing white male these days. So this guy, Rundle, out of nowhere, texted me, and apparently I must not have said this, and if I did, I'm sorry, I'm repeating it, but a couple of people did tell me that they do not remember me talking about, they were anticipating me talking about the text messages that were sent to me. And I responded to this guy, and he kept coming back and saying more nasty things and more assessments that were coming from Lotus, telling him to do this. She defended them. This is the problem with cults. Them ahead of the family. I sound like a mob guy. Ahead of the family. How dare you do that to the family? So, yeah, that's how they live. She was in one cult before this. What did I call her? Rovan? I come close to the names, by the way. Really, really close. You can figure it out. Maybe the names. I'll probably tell you if you ask me. I probably should tell you, because it would warn you to not get in business with these wellness grifters that claim wellness and wholeness, and here's a product that'll get you better. Here's an orgasm. They have a documentary called Orgasm Inc. They're involved with that. Dildos, apparently. Oh, that was another new one. I don't think I mentioned that. I didn't know that Broke was in the dildo business too. Along with, of course, who follows her, likes and holds space and all that, is Lotus. And I sit there and I go, oh my God, you dedicated yourself to this marriage and family, dedicated to the point of exhaustion and going out and working and doing all this while she goes outside. It's worse than cheating. I'd rather her sleep with a porn star than what she did. I really would. That you can deal with. That's something that's understandable. Maybe I'm not a great lover, anything like that. And then you can work on things. But no, she took all of her energy and put it into this woman, Broke. So I also came across, when it started, I just came across this document. I can't believe it. It was like, when I came across the photo of this document, it took my breath away. I realized that Broke came along years before with another scam, an insurance scam. And there was the papers, there was the documents of a life insurance policy that I signed. I paid for. Not. By the way, someone mentioned to me, one of the other feedback, it was like, yeah, you took somebody, and literally she lived in a treehouse with no running water, had to pee 40 yards away in the woods, in a little toilet in the woods. And I got rescue hat on, and there you go. That's one lesson, folks. That's another thing. We're about lessons. I'm about lessons. I'm going to learn this stuff. Hell or high water. I'm going to get to another lesson in a minute. Maybe not a minute. So someone wrote to me and said, yeah, what else did you expect when you rescued her or took her from this place? But the punishment for the rescue does not fit the crime of the rescuing. This is a hell of a punishment, and the kids suffer for it as well. I just keep thinking she'll repair the damage, and one of the ways that she can repair the damage is turn to these people and turn to the other people that she said all these bad rumors and lies about me, and just go tell them the truth, including my sons, by the way. She's used them as well. a perception that she has, and she will not bend. I've even tried bribery, and she's a selfish person. I even tried bribery, and that's how bad it is. That's how dug in the righteousness is. When someone's in a cult, they're righteous, and there's nothing that can get through to them. Nothing. And I have tried. So this is what he says. This is one of the quotes. I just pulled these up randomly. It's how many Rundle sent me. I have enough to have your children taken from you, and your family will help me with this. Now, where did he get that from? He got that from her, saying that I guess my sons will help. I guess my other ex-wife will help, that's a whole other story. Wow. That's toxic to a whole other degree, of which Lotus had to suffer from that, which shocks me. Now she's using that. I'm trying to amend support right now. She won't even have a discussion about it because I said, well, if you're making all this wealth from women, you're either lying to the people or you're lying to me about how much you make. She wrote like $500 a month. Yeah, right. She lives in a $4,500 a month place. So again, these are all facts that she can't deny. So the other intention would be somebody comes in, like the guy who said, Jesus Christ, when are you going to heal? Yeah, hey, man, help out. Get your wife, who's one of her best friends, get her to help out. Get her to do an intervention. Get all the other mamas together. All the ones who aren't in the cult, get them all together. And bring back this beautiful human being. She went away. Now, she doesn't show them that. That's part of the con. People aren't going to see this. They see this smiling, happy, hippie girl and vicious, insidious, mindless crimes behind everyone's back, of which I react. And there's the rub. I react. And my reaction now is to muster up the courage to express this. And maybe somebody steps in and talks to her and pulls her aside and gets her out of there. And then the kids have a better chance. And we all have a better chance of not living in fear. How do I know she's not going to kidnap them again? How do I know that? How do I know she's not going to be violent again? You know, I wanted to say something about, say, well, so-and-so doesn't have a record. And even when I was a kid, I didn't understand this. If someone that doesn't have a record, what does that say? Because the first time they do something, they now have a record. That's if they're caught. So it's like the first time that something happens, I don't want to be on the other side of the first time somebody does something. Like Lori Vallow, it's my friend's sister. Who saw that coming? Her mom didn't, her sister didn't. They didn't see any of this, and she killed her 2 children and buried them in the backyard. And people are acting like I'm dramatic. Well, what about my friend Adam, who's saying, yeah, he asked people all along. I'm asking people all along, pay attention. This isn't about restoring the marriage. I could never restore a marriage with somebody that's like the CIA. You know, that can't be, that ship has sailed. But what hasn't is we are co-parenting and the children are used and abused. But the perception is that it's me who's doing that because I'm trying to tell the truth. I am telling the truth. It's not like I'm making it up. These are the things that happen. I don't want the children to be subjected to this. I don't want them to be subjected to the BDSM and the sadomasochism. I do not want my children being subjected to that. And that's what Broke has done to her children. One of them left and wouldn't speak to her for a year. She and Rundle have also broken up, but then they have this big celebratory engagement party. Of course, they have to do everything out there for their ego. Oh, my God. If you saw this, it's disgusting. And by the way, anyone who has figured it out, who I told who it is, every single person goes, oh, my God, what a whack. She hardly has any followers, by the way. But that she has any is insane. And that she has my ex-wife as a follower is insane of my ex-wife. To actually say goodbye to a man who's dedicated everything, and the children have to go to different homes and back and forth and be subjected to all this. And here's another text from him. Understand, I will be sitting with my attorney on Monday to discuss our options for the slander and defamation of character you're spreading. Well, Rundle, it's not defamation if it's true. There's nothing I said that isn't a fact. As a matter of fact, I say to people, just go look at her pages. Go look at her Instagram. Look at her Facebook. And every single time people go back to me, they're fascinated. It's her own defamation of self because she's saying these things that are absolutely nuts and so arrogant about it. About everything, she's arrogant and just doubles down. If anyone challenges Broke, just like a cult leader, she shuts them down, blocks them, and everything else. So it's not about freedom. Freedom's freedom of speech. By the way, I'll be honest about something. I was a big lefty too, and I left the left. And the reason I left the left, I'm not going right. I'm liking this centered space right here where I get to examine it all and not live in fear. Oh, you vote for so-and-so, it's a vote for so-and-so. Hey, that's your fears. I'm right here, right in the center, loving it, in a centered spot. And the whole reason I left the left is there's no more freedom of speech. Let's shut it down. Shut you down. Don't agree with me? Shut you down. Misinformation. Shut that down. And that's why I had to leave the left. So this defamation that he's talking about is not defamation. But there are people from the left, if they do, I mean, you know, the far, whatever. I don't even like the left or right. For lack of another term, I was a big lefty. People are shocked now that I'm not because I fought so hard. I felt like I was right. I do feel this, though. I do feel that being in a centered spot of oneness, kindness, generosity, it's not going to leave me. When my mom called me up and she said she was so uplifted that she wasn't depressed when I stayed these days with her, it's a wonderful thing to hear. She's now, because we worked on this stuff, or I worked on it, she's now seeing me for who I truly am. And by the way, that's what made for a good marriage for a long time with Lotus. Saw me for who I truly am, not what she's dictating me to be from centuries of man's abuse. I got it. But ladies, if you're listening, you have that spot in you that has that anger towards a man that makes these assumptions. Whereas I just saw a video on Instagram, a guy he was a right-wing guy, goes up to this woman with a pink hat, and she just screamed back at him. All of this stuff, this venom that was built up inside of her, and this is what's built up inside of Broke and what's in Lotus, and the people that follow this, it's a built-up venom that's no good for anyone. I don't want my kids to see this. I don't want them to see this kind of level of disrespect of a guy that works hard and shows up. It's completely disregarded. I can't literally get her to bend on anything. Anything. She'll ignore every note, but expect me to listen to whatever she wants. Anything. Because she has it in her mind, programmed by a cult leader and other ones who agree. Come on, mamas. Come on, mamas. Get your freedom, get your strength, get your power. You have the power. You have a higher power within. And that higher power within, the one that I know, is not about taking someone else down so you can feel victorious. The higher power that I live in is divine love. And I do love Lotus and always have and always will. And that's another intention that's part of this podcast. I've had difficult things in my life, and it does me no good to have other people join me in my resentments. It doesn't serve any good purpose. It just keeps me in a place of non-significance, of playing low. I might have mentioned this before. I was kidnapped when I was 13 by a serial pedophile. I was also beaten to a pulp by students, mostly my age, in 8th grade mostly, but in other grades, but that was the worst year. And other things have happened. If I, with Broke or with Lotus, if I give them the power, the person who kidnapped me, if I forgive them, they don't have the power over me. If I offer love, they don't hold the keys to my prison. It's a self-prison I put myself in. The more I resent, the more prison I'm in. So just so you all know, we're all a lot of things. I've had people say, oh, I made a joke the other day about Joe Biden. It was a simple joke. I said, I put a picture of his strides. He has very short strides. And I said on Instagram, I said, for those of you worried about Joe Biden's health, his short strides, he's doing 10,000 steps just to go to the bathroom. Not the greatest joke in the world, but there it was. Got reaction, of course. Oh, there you go, right and left. Just horrible things. And I'm going, oh, geez, here we go. I lit up. And someone told me it was elder abuse. I was actually kind of positive. I was saying he's in good health. He makes these steps. No, it's elder abuse. It's people. And someone else said, how do you call yourself a transformative speaker or coach when you say something like this? And I will tell you the answer. Not that that person's listening. The judgers never listen. Or they're not listening with openness and willingness to shift and change. Part of my transformative journey is to make fun of myself and have fun with others and make people laugh. And that is transformation. Transformation doesn't have to be the way you think it is, with writing platitudes on Post-it notes, getting together and saying namaste and everything else. It doesn't need to be like that. In my world, I'm happy making jokes and having fun. It's not punching down to say something like that. Even if it is, I mean, is anybody really affected by that? Is it ruining anyone's day? This whole thing of people being offended? And they're even offended that I'm doing this. How can you call yourself, all that kind of stuff? You know, every single person out there lies. Every single person there lacks integrity at times. I think it's the amount of times you do it when it becomes serial, like my ex. I say if she told the truth, it would be by accident at this point. But I have forgiveness and hope and faith. It's one of the reasons I do this. Because some things, don't quit before the miracle. I always say that. And I've had plenty of times I wanted to quit. This situation and many situations in my life. I might have mentioned before I tried suicide when I was 13. And by the way, I even make a joke about that. So, you're sick. I had a noose around my neck and these neckties. I tied them around. I was 13. I'd just gotten back from this DC thing, this kidnapping. It was horrible. My mom told me to keep it a secret, and you're only as sick as your secrets. And I tied these neckties around this closet and over the top, and I tied them to the doorknob, and I made a noose that I learned in Tenderfoot and whatever, and Boy Scouts and Cub Scouts and all that. And I had a noose, and I started choking. I was dangling, and I wanted attention. I wanted somebody to say, I love you, something like that. My mom walks in. She's, oh, my God, what are you doing? This is a quote. Oh, my God, those are new neckties. Get up. So some people think that's sick humor. I don't care. To me, it's funny. It's who she is. There's nothing wrong with her. And by the way, I was dangling on my knees, and I did just get up. I wasn't really committing suicide. But this goes back to the point I was kind of making, is lightening up with the judgment, being more forgiving, being loving. Yes, I have those sides of me that have been all throughout this podcast, cynical, maybe angry, nasty. Yeah, it's all part of it. All part of my emotions. I might cry. There's a threat. I don't know. So this is what Rundle says. He goes, then he says, please look at the situation you've created with your other sons, my older sons. I have a hard time with my older sons. They've been absolutely indoctrinated to think that if I even ask them to wash a window, that it's abuse. That's their mom has talked to men, and some boys, they end up gravitating towards their mom. And then they all get together. Oh, he's the bad guy. I get painted as the bad guy. It's tough. That is one of the toughest things in my life, is defending myself. I don't want to defend myself. Albert Brooks had a great movie, Defending Your Life. I don't want to defend my life, and sometimes I'm forced to. I ended up in court with her false allegations. Both sons watched that happen. Both sons watched me show up and be the coach and make sure that they had unbelievable lives, introduced them to people where my son has an incredible job because of all the jobs I got him up until that point and got him in college, all those things, all out the window because of holding on to a resentment that is encouraged by the mom. It's called parent alienation. I've been on the other side of it, and it's ugly and it sucks. Got to pray for her. Got to love her anyway. Same with my sons who are making this choice. And I believe that when people can't tell the truth, they block. That's a thing that's going on now in society. And there's silent treatment. I can't encourage you more. Maybe that's another reason for doing this, is encourage you. If you're holding on to something, there's the old expression, you're drinking poison and hoping they die. It's not going to serve a purpose. Or to judge even me and my process, or judge anybody else, or judge anyone else's process. Maybe I'm judging Lotus's process. This is part of her process, is to go join a cult. Join a bunch of women that say that men are this and all that kind of thing. He says, look at the situation you created with your sons. Then he says, another text, your relationship with your children are heading down the same path as those sons. Here's another threat. I have enough in my back pocket to open up a lot of eyes and can take this as far as you like. This guy came out of nowhere, by the way. I've never met him, never talked to him. So where is this information coming from that he's making these threats, folks? You know where it's coming from. I'm coming after you, and just know that this is my vow that I will protect Lotus and Broke. He vows to protect Lotus, who he does not know. Now he says he threatened. I have his children's, my other son's mother's contact, and they're wanting to work with me. What do you think that says? What that says is, there's this collusion that's going to happen. They're getting together, and here is the demonized guy, and they're going to come after this guy. Here's all the evidence. There's no evidence that's true. There's a perception of evidence that's true, and then when people get together and it's gossip and rumor and all that kind of stuff, I had to deal with it. It's cost me $1 million to hold on to custody. They're not grateful for that. I guess there are more rescues that I have to learn my lesson, but there I was coaching every team, basketball, baseball, football. I coached them all throughout their lives and gave every single thing I could possibly give. And they have rage towards me. Some of the rage has to do with I would involve them in saying, hey, can you write a letter to the court? Can you write a letter to the people and tell the truth that these are absolute lies that their mom was telling? I mean, the worst lies you can even imagine. I can't even say them if that's that bad. But I think you can understand probably what she did. He says, Craig, with exclamation points, you're a damaging force in your children's lives, a man who never met me. Think about that. Think about that, the programming that this guy has from Broke, that he's going to do her bidding for her and be the protective guy, this creep. You're extremely self-serving and causing extreme harm to your children. How does he know that? I'm causing the harm when this woman he's protecting. That's the other thing, is I actually hope that he listens to this podcast and maybe he has a transformation. He realizes what he's bringing. A man who is also, by the way, reported to child services for his violence, and that's a fact, his violence towards her son. He actually had the balls to tell me in one of these texts that he coaches his football team. Yeah, you're all about your image, guys. You're all about everything about what it looks like. But I happen to know what the truth is, and so do people that have been part of the cult. I have 35 letters from people. I've read some of them before, who have dealt with Lotus, who have dealt with Broke, and they say, this is a cult. They rip me off. They're con artists. They're the ones saying this, so it's not just me. And sometimes I wrote a post today about, I'll read that too, about multi-level marketing. I'm not knocking multi-level marketing, but I will tell you, be warned that there are people, because there's no standards or no practice, no standards and practices. There's no laws really in place. A lot of times there is laws against pyramids, but there's not laws against frauds. Unfortunately, in the society, a lot of criminals get away with things, including Broke and Lotus. Says, you're extremely self-serving, causing harm to your children. I'm going to stop you one way or another. You need to understand that I am a fighter. I want to ask you, does that sound like threatening? Yeah, to me it does. He says, you have no idea who I am, and you're wrong on every front, and I will come after you with everything I have. Please stop Craig from bringing this poison to your children, their lives, as there's no excuse in any way for pitting your children against their mother. Understand this is my last attempt, Craig, with 4 exclamation points. He copies his girlfriend, does that to his fiance, whatever. Now, you all understand the word projection? So the mother who's feeding him this is projecting exactly what she's doing. When you kidnap children 2 different times and then take them away from speaking to their father, who's completely loving, there's zero reason for it. Zero reason for it. When you do that, when they see the disrespect, they see the walking out of the room, they see the rage, when they see the violence, that is poisoning them. That is what they will remember for the rest of their lives. And that is what I keep asking her and encouraging her, and inviting her to a new realm of possibility, to cease that, admit that, become aware of it. Then you can have a transformation. Then you can cease this behavior that is causing them harm. The assessment that I'm poisoning them, the only thing, and the other wife did the same thing, telling the truth of them and responding to attacks is not poisoning. It's saying, I want to protect this family with all I have. That's what it is, factually. I'm defending so that they have a dad that's not put in prison. She already put me in jail. The other one tried to put me in jail when she was the violent one as well, threw a knife at me. I am telling you, it's a toxic world out there, and women are encouraged to do this. A lot of them, don't go running, misogynist, sexist. That's another thing that people do, is they put that label on and they can't hear anymore. I'm a big white guy. Big white guy. Misogynist, sexist. Incorrect. I have compassion and empathy, always have. A single mother, always had that. But now I'm having an understanding. It's like the bar went too far the other way. Attacks on people who are innocent, and I am innocent. I did what I have to keep saving this, something that happened this week. I won't listen or be subjected to any nonsense from you, is what he says. How is it nonsense? Feeding back the truth. I'm the one experiencing it. You're not, Buster Brown. You guessed wrong about me, my family, and then he names my kids. He never met them. Does anyone understand how sick this is? And that this is the direction that my ex-wife took, instead of going into the family, going out of this and making her own family here. He names the kids, the one that he beat. My job in life is protecting what I experienced in my childhood. I won't be subjected to your delusions. Well, that's projection, and it's also actually what I'm about. I don't suffer bullies, folks. I really don't. I was majorly bullied, and that's not like cyber bully. This was really coyote wilding beatings to my, stripping me down to my underwear and tearing my underwear to the point I had such shame I didn't want to show my mom, so I have strips for underwear, beaten to a pulp, hung by lockers, jammed into lockers, head put into the toilet, wedgies that where my ass was completely raw and rashed, beatings, actual beatings with gangs of people beating me senselessly, and I just covered up. And now I married someone who was a hippie, kind, sweet, met in a spiritual center, growing, divinely inspired, filled with integrity, and now she's the bully. I told her this when I did my big amends. I was crying. That is one time I actually cried. And everyone was. We were all so happy that I took on everything. It was full accountability. I might have explained this before, but it was really a wonderful experience. Surrender really is the greatest victory. I guarantee you. So maybe that's another reason I'm doing this, is I'm letting you know. I have story after story where it's not about blame. It's about, this is, what did I bring in here? What did I bring? Where did I lie? Where did I join a cult? Whatever it is, admit it. He says, this is my word to you. I won't have any more contact. I truly hope you find the help you need. I need help, according to this guy. Those are some of the threatening text messages. There's more where he CCs her. And she goes into denial and actually said, it's on the table. That's on the table. That's out in the ether. I don't care how much time has passed, months have passed. I don't care. I don't care. When's the blow day? When's the blow day where they've had enough and they come after me? When's the something where they harm my children? When are the children kidnapped? You don't know. We don't know. You can't depend on her being this sweet person. We can't depend on it because we've already seen the results of it. Getting a safe house with alleged abuse. She had to get a safe house. The violence, the throwing a remote in my face. These are the things that come off the top of my head, having me arrested after she charged me and ripped my clothes and scratched me and clawed at me. And kidnapped the kids and took them away, wouldn't let them speak to their father who they love. By the way, this is probably a perception, but I don't believe it is. The children actually do favor this direction over here. They've said very plainly, and they spoke to their mom through a video for an hour and a half, saying this exact truth. So if anyone wants to question me, I'll show you the video. I always wonder when people commit crimes and say, how come they don't take a lie detector test? And how come they don't do this thing? I said, no, I'll do all these things because I'm not lying. They said, I remember the other ex before, she said, oh, he'll take a lie detector. She wouldn't take a lie detector test. I would, and I did. I passed my own lie detector test. That's how sick he is. He could take one and pass it. Well, go ahead, you take one. I'll take my chances on that because I know you're lying. Same with Lotus. Are some of you saying, oh boy, this guy, maybe it's him. Yeah, it is me. It is me. My reactions aren't the best sometimes. My actions all right, I'm going to get into the damn story I've been threatening to tell. So I'm not the type who's litigious. I happen to be married to people who are. She agreed to, in the beginning, she did this whole phony, fake thing of conscious uncoupling. That's another thing like holding space. Oh, what a bunch of conscious uncoupling. We won't use attorneys. And then we start to go mediator. So then she storms out of there, had a tantrum, and that cost me, it was $5,800 or something like that. And she wouldn't split it. I asked her to split it many times. This is after she stole $1 million from the house that I bought before I knew her and all that. Couldn't look in my camera and change the password. These are all facts. People don't think anything of it. I mean, this is like major stuff. It's criminal. She might be this hippie. It's a criminal. And how far does the criminal go? That's what's scary. When you see how many times I've written or say, hey, let's, go to a spiritual counsel. Let's do whatever. I've tried everything, neutral parties, everything to reach out there. Nope. This is one stubborn person. Wow, is she stubborn. Won't give an inch. If she does a quid pro quo every single time. She goes, I'll do this if you do this. I even tried some of that reverse. I said, I'll pay you money if you let the kids go to this counselor. No, wouldn't do it. I had them with the counselor. She sends the counselor a video to have me reported for child services, which did happen because I was talking to the kids in the back seat and it was endangering them when they had the camera. I wasn't. Anyway, that's how far and sick our society is with men. And they did it with the arrest. They arrested me, not her, wouldn't listen to me. Even I had the scratches. That's where we are. So that's a fact. You can be mad at me all you want. That's where we are. Because men did some horrible things throughout society. I mean, I watch things on, men are the serial killers. But I'll tell you, what happened these last few weeks, it's a killer. I do this meditation group on Sundays, and I went to the group. It's called a Sangha. And so I can really keep my vibration high. I go to several people. I go to this woman who helps me out. She's in hypnotherapy and helps me with sleep and helps me with other things. And then it's kind of Keely, my boy. I just get this help. We all need it. My other reason for doing this is I encourage you to always reach out to people. Do not keep secrets. You're sick as your secrets. Do not keep. This is no secret anymore. She'd love it to be a secret. She thinks she wants people to know that she's violent and completely out of her mind. She doesn't want people to know that. But the rub is that me even having the children talk to her on the video, I'll get in trouble for that. That's the society we're in. That's the society we're saying, that's the poisoning of children. No, I'm asking the children, tell the truth. That's not poison. It's a truth that people don't want to hear. No one wants to hear that the hippie, kind-hearted soul who holds hands with her guru and runs out of the water. No one wants to believe that of her. She plays the part to the hilt. Anyway, I'm scrolling. And this woman, I'm a single guy now and dating, not liking it at all. I have 5 dates in a row that had to blow into a breathalyzer tube to start their car. Swear. I only saw it one other time. My friend Randy had it. That was it. I'd never seen one before. And now 5 in a row. I look into their front seat. There it is. Woo, crazy. That's what I'm drawing in. But I hope you're laughing at that because I'm laughing at it. That's what I draw in. That's obviously what I'm drawing in here with this insanity. Maybe it's just what I know. Maybe this is a process for me to keep having these discoveries. Well, I had another one this time. I see this woman speaking from a beach, looking into the camera. Beautiful. But it wasn't the beauty of the smile, which is a beautiful face. It was the way she was saying it. It was coming from a space of helping people. And I DM'd her and I said, I'd like to have you on my podcast. And it turns out I did not follow her. I don't even know how this, I at the time I thought, oh, this is like almost a miracle because this person pops up. No dating app, no nothing. I didn't have to do any of the vetting because she already was a fan of my comedy for years and made her kids have my VHS who are now 40. Older than on my dating profile, but everything about her, I went, oh my God, you have found, you did it, Craig. You did it. After all this pain, you did it. And this is what I was going to have the podcast after the following thing happened. So we start dating. And wow, black belt, we go to her, me and the kids went to her class, once we, it was just beautiful, just so kind and sweet and funny and fun. And it's just, I just couldn't believe it. I fell in love. And it was something I had not felt in a long time. Well, since Lotus. Love. And maybe I will cry. I let her in. I took a vacation house. I usually went to go to the Jersey Shore. It's tough to afford these things anymore. I've been compromised severely by my ex-wife, stealing money or taking money or just blowing everything up. And suddenly I'm in a house, a very expensive house, because she moved us in here with the thoughts that she was going to move out in the middle of the night. So I'm stuck with this and soul bills and everything else. And then she got me on the deal with the, men have to pay. Men always got to pay the child support. Hard work. And you got to do that. Doesn't make any sense. I remember talking to my lawyer about it. He called me a misogynist. I said, this isn't fair. He says, you act like a misogynist. I was so angry with him. So she comes into my life, cooks. I'm a cook too. We're sharing the cooking, sharing the shopping, just eating wonderful, healthy food, which she coaches, by the way. She coaches. And then we went for a walk on the beach. And on the way up to this place, this is me admitting my failures. I was projecting onto the kids my stuff. I'm just going to admit one of the things I said. Why not? You know, I was going back and forth being positive and also expressing my fear. I had been to the court so I did the following things and ready because I was so tired of her turning me down. I politely decline anything that I do or say. By the way, she went to 2 different lawyers after saying we wouldn't go to lawyers. $90,000 later, when she said she wouldn't, here we go. Still, yeah, more lies. More lies. And the children suffer for this. This is what people don't understand. The children suffer financially, emotionally when you're in conflict. I'm trying to stay out of conflict, but you got somebody that goes in tantrums, doesn't get her own way. This is what happens. It's a fact. Another lawyer. And I get a lawyer. I don't want to get a lawyer. I hated this guy too. Oh, God, this guy was just deplorable. I'm sorry. I love him anyway. So on the way up there, here's the part I regret. I said and I could just watch their energy. It was really sinking on the way up there. We're supposed to be going on this vacation. We're driving to this beautiful shore house, this gorgeous giant place on the sand, 30 minutes away. So we packed up a lot of stuff. Instead of getting on a plane and going to Jersey Shore, like normally that's where we went. And so there I was, my 2 younger children, missing my 2 older ones who love the beach, but they're kind of out right now with me. So I'm really frustrated. And I had been to the court, so I'm already anxious. And I took a picture of it and I sent it to her, just like, look, you want to keep going here? I'm not going to allow you to go on your vacation out of state. You can have the vacation because you're not going out of state. Definitely not out of the country, which she's always tried to do. I'm afraid of her kidnapping. And I had plenty of information for the court. And I talked to somebody there, and they're like, oh, yeah. So I was going to get a restraining order. And actually, I was even thinking about doing a restraining order to actually get custody. I thought about that as well, because I easily could do that just with all this proof. And the children, interview the children. I got no question about that. I'd say anybody, interview the children. This is what they experience. Nothing to do with poisoning. It's their experience. They told her for an hour and a half, and her response was that I had them, blah, 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 all the traditional stuff. It's me, it's me, it's me. Couldn't be you, can it, Lotus? It couldn't be you. Couldn't just take that moment and take your children in. Take in their feelings of what they're saying about how you blew up their lives, how you treated their father, who they love, how you've been so torturous in your behavior, torturous in subjecting us all to this and having no apology, no regret, and no working on yourself. They're asking her to go get some rehabilitation. They've asked her flat out because she promised them that she would. And she said, I'll do it if he does it. She just makes all these quid pro quos. She can't do something. I said, can't you just get diagnosed? She goes, I don't need to be diagnosed. People told me I'm not a narcissist. No matter how many pieces of evidence I say, yeah, it's malignant narcissism. Anybody that's just unconscious that would do this to me and the children just like that and think nothing of it and don't come back and go, sorry about that, let me reset. Never. Doesn't exist with her. That's sick and pathological. So on the way up, I had written a note to her boyfriend. She has a boyfriend in Colorado. And the kids expressed that they were afraid that they were going to get kidnapped, or one of them did, kidnapped to Colorado. Because they don't know either that she's that, crazy. And so I want to protect them. And on the way up, I was really kind of, here I'm on vacation. I had just been to the court. I was going to go back to the court and carry this out. I was going to send a letter to the boyfriend telling him the truth because I know he has kids. Does he want to subject his kids to this? Does he want to subject himself to her lies and deceit, which is just intolerable. It's unbelievable the levels of lies that she has. She actually said to me, oh, I'm from Japan and secrecy is a virtue. No, it's not. It's a lie and it's no good to lie. Anyway, so I was toxic. And then I tried to go to gratitude. I said, what do you like most about mom and dad? And my son said something really nice about her. It said something about she's a good mom. And sure enough, not in my spiritual conditioning, in my resentment, I said, what kind of mom would do this to you? Yeah. I am ashamed of that, but I do not wish to ignore that. And I didn't. So this new girlfriend comes up, and we go for a walk on the beach. And she said something to me that I couldn't wait for her to actually come on this podcast to talk about this perspective. What I was talking about earlier is how women have become a certain way. A lot of women, too many that I've faced, have become this certain way that she's about to describe. Like this is what she said. She said, see if I can paraphrase or get to it. She said, women ask for a guy to be a certain guy, a certain way. Then he gives that to her. Then they get together with other women who have this unresolved rage that is literally clinical towards men. They build up a whole case from decades and decades of the generational abuse that men did do. Women didn't have rights. I totally get it. And she said they get together, these toxic femininity, and then they feel like they have power, like they didn't have power to begin with, and they're going to go get that power. And the way to have that power is to diminish the man. And she said this, she said, the one thing that a man wants is respect. And that's the first thing they do is disrespect. And that's what Lotus did to me often. And then I was about to use the word victim. I don't want to be a victim. Then she said, and then they act like victims. I go, wow, it's like right out of the playbook. It's exactly what I'm dealing with. All these attacks and her with these women's groups. I mean, you go girl and get your power and independence. I mean, what kind of bill of goods is that? You get married, you're married. Yeah, be independent within the marriage. Great. I'll encourage it. It's great. I did. I supported the first cult, $80,000 later. Supported this one, hundreds of thousands of dollars later, that I invested in things that she wouldn't even show me a business plan. Medicine journeys and all this kind of stuff, all this $9,000 to a coaching program. I mean, all these bills. And I remember saying, oh, my God, when I said no to the $9,000, she said, I'm going to do it anyway. I went, oh, my God, I have no rights. I have no rights. A man can't do what he used to do, which was wrong, is hit. So that swung so far the other way that it looks like the man is in control and shackling and all that kind of stuff. So that's where, so she explained this to me. I went, oh my God. And just her doing that, I kind of got acknowledged. I got acknowledged that, first of all, my thoughts are not bad thoughts. I just got affirmed. It's like, yes, it's the level that I used to say to Lotus all the time. I said, why do you disrespect me in front of the children like this? What do you think you're teaching them? They're going to be married someday, maybe. Maybe they're going to marry. I said, what do you think you're telling our daughter how to treat a man? And what do you think about telling him how he should be treated? I've said it to her many times. And when someone does an intervention someday, or maybe someday when she gets help, maybe she'll get to that. It's just not what you do. I've got my own responsibility of my reactions and things like that, but in general, no, I showed up and suited up. Even being cut off of sex for years. When she's talking about orgasms on the internet, on social media, it's a violation to be cut off. My mom's calling me. I love my mom. I mean, what's the message you send the children when you don't work on your marriage and you attack the other person like they're the problem, you blame them, and then you get other people to help you blame because you know that it's going to go towards the guy. Guys are pigs. The guys are cheaters. I remember when I first got divorced, I go, what'd you do? What'd you do? It's a natural instinct for people because it's men always known as the cads, the Lotharios, and all of that. I did other things. Yeah, I did other things to, I definitely could have done a lot of more spiritual work and made sure that we kept going back to where we met and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I regret that, but It is what it is. But in the meantime, that person that we were growing together stopped growing and went right in this other direction of hate and resentment and anger and rage, couched by and hidden by this ego. I got her a gift one time. I don't regret the gift. It is kind of funny. I got her a gift. She was so happy. A vanity light. She has all these videos. She dances and she has all these proclamations about life. It's about this and it's about that. It's all theoretical. You ain't living one bit of it. It's all a lie. So I go for this walk with this girlfriend and called a girlfriend. I mean, this was like, it's on. And I'm going to get in there and dedicate myself. It's hard to get off those dating apps. You know, they're addictive, but I'm going to do this. I was making some adjustments, older than I was on my dating app profile, you know, but I just love that she was an adult. I love that I didn't have to do my shtick because she already knows that I'm funny. She's been in loads of shows. Her kids were brought up with me. And it was so wonderful. And so I trusted her. And I came back and I went to the kids full on, just like they had in Maui, mea culpa, apology. I said, you can go out of state with your mom, go anywhere you want. And I called their mom in front of them. I said, Lotus, well, her real name. I said, I'm so sorry. You can go anywhere you want. I'm not going to do any restraining orders, which I had threatened to do. And I'm not going to write a letter to your boyfriend. Go have a great time. And I believe she thanked me, most likely. And the kids just had a whole transformation right on the spot. So did I. It was beautiful. Just like that Maui time. They got up and hugged the girlfriend because they knew that she inspired it. This long, long walk I came back from. We had an amazing time at the beach. Her family comes, her grandchildren, children, teaching my kids, you know, just fighting sticks, you know, from the dojo that they own, and really just incredible. And friends, and just everything I love about life happened. We're cooking together and just breaking bread with good friends came to this house. They happened to be down the street, and another one down the street, another one drove, and my kids both had friends there the entire time. The entire time I was with these kids, their parents never checked in with me. I couldn't believe it. Not once. So 7 days. It was amazing. That's what I love. So playing on the beach and all of that. And there she was. And then we start to really get into this relationship. And to the point of, you know, cooking new types of meals, and the children love it and love her. And then even working with my business and saying that she knows how to do this business, you know, I have a coaching business, and getting in there with somebody who works with me, and everyone loves her. All the friends love her. Then she came to my workshops. I have these workshops. I did one at a spiritual center. I did one at a Canyon Club. I have these laughter heals workshops and teach people how to use laughter, use the alchemy of laughter to make yourself better. I love these programs, by the way. They're really, really cool. And people dug it. And there she was with that smile on her face. There she did come to shows and hanging out with the other comedians. And then she brings her stepdaughter to another show. There she was. There she smiles. And then she says, I built this home and now it's up. And she showed it to me because it's for sale again. Years later, it's up for sale. I'm looking at this thing. I'm like, God, she's so clever and smart. She built this house. It's like a sanctuary. All these impressive things, and just dedicated to this communion and union that was going on with families and frivolity and happiness and playing in the sand and building. I built this beautiful rock garden that I had everybody in a Zen way contribute to this rock garden. All of this was happening. All my dreams are coming true. And then she says, let's look for places together. Okay. So there's this land, all this land is for sale because of the fires out here. And okay, we found the property. She goes, I'm going to build a villa here with you. Okay, great. And I'm saying to myself, this is who I want. I want someone who's evolved. I want someone who is evolving. I want someone who is really tender and sentimental and connected and shows up at these spiritual centers with me and church with me. I mean, I go to different places. I go everywhere I can, folks, because I want to live a fulfilled, meaningful life that is not about me and my power in my head. It's about a higher source, a potency that exists in me. Love, light, and levity. It's what I teach, and I encourage people to go there. That's what she was doing with me. With no doubts, nothing, no fights. Oh my God, Craig, what's going on here? And she told me what women are like, and it may affirm for me. This is what that's what the brokes of the world, she relies on women like that. Let's go, girls, let's go get them, let's attack them. Even though she's got Rundle, I break up all the time, by the way, but they prey upon other women that can't work this stuff out within themselves. Work it out, work out the rage, work out the memes and the DNA that's in there that with this hatred, work it out. I don't want to be on the other side of it. And I was not with her. Oh my God, this is amazing. And I did have that with Lotus. It was like a miracle with Lotus. And then I'm in Philadelphia, my hometown, gathering people together. And I did it. There is communion, just I love. I had just been all this going on here in Los Angeles, at the beach house and my house and all these wonderful things of friendships and joy and laughter with her, looking at homes and dreaming. And then I'm sitting there, this large table with all these old friends I've known literally since 3rd grade, 4th grade. Best friends there. A text message appears. She ended it. Like that. Don't respond. A text message. After bringing these families together, children loving her, which people warned me, don't introduce your children to anybody by when there's no way. Somebody like this is like, of course I'm going to introduce them. And she loved them. They loved her. Just like that. That quick. And that bomb that I felt when my ex kidnapped the kids in the middle of the night, I felt it again. Like, what in the world could you be thinking? Lotus, and now you? What could you possibly be thinking? I'm away, which that's very vulnerable. That's when Lotus did it, by the way. The duplication, the parallels were spooky. What happened? At first, she has a couple excuses. Then she has the guts to go, I don't want children. Well, you just spent all this time with them and never said not a single word was ever said. I'm going, all these things are coming up for me. You've got to be kidding me. So then she says, okay, I'll talk to you at 3 o'clock today. 3 o'clock arrives. No, I'm not going to talk to you. It's over. Again, just a side swipe. What in the world? What is this? A man, me, I want to make sense of something. I want to know, what did I do? What did I do? What did I do? What could I correct? How can we correct this? That solution guy, that's what I go to. I go to solution. What can I do? Same with Lotus. What can I do? How can I amend my behavior? Way willing to do that. Wouldn't even hear it. She finally wrote back with some excuse of what she says, I apologize for trying to manipulate outcome. That was her big. And what I'm trying to say to you, the parallels is, when you make amends to somebody, you take actions. Otherwise, it's words. And the words are coming from the toxic femininity that's out there that thinks that it's okay to do this. And don't challenge, or you're the abuser, you get blocked. So here's what happened. So finally, time goes by. I'm really, really upset to do this to the kids. I was really, really upset. And to me, of course, really upset. Not to the point of anger, like raging, but really, I said some cutting things, but they weren't like, wasn't necessarily like, you're a name call. It was like, this happened. You don't do this. Like, how do you say you're going to look for a house and then suddenly you do that? How do you do a text message? I'm sorry, I went about it the wrong way. There's and I was just noticing pattern after pattern of Lotus and people like that. And here's the irony. The things that she said that these women are like, she became exactly that. She was projecting it. She became a liar. She became a blamer. She became a victim if I ever said anything back. I said something about, because she said that her husband went away and left the family, and for years she had to process that. And I was going, oh, great, I'll process it with you. We'll heal together. And I said something like, yeah, he probably left because you're like this. Oh, you're rubbing it in my face. See, victim, gaslighting, all that kind of stuff. That's what all this dynamic was happening. So then she says, we finally, some days go by, I come back. I just keep thinking, oh, this is like a bad dream. You got to be kidding me. This reminds me of the blow up of the family with, I still haven't told the kids. Today I haven't told the kids yet. Okay, just pray for a miracle. Maybe a miracle's going to happen. Maybe is she really following the same exact pattern of lies, deceit? Is she really? And then I look, and oh my God, it was almost like I was reading Brooke's thing. I didn't even realize this. I saw her Facebook post, but her graphic is, I help women, That's what Brooks is. That's what it is. It's the same language. She's talking about these people where she helped me heal, thinking, oh, here's the one that's not like that. She's exactly like that, and exactly word for word patterned. I still cannot believe it. I'm shell-shocked, like I was and still am with Lotus. It's hard to use the fake names, but they're close enough that I can remember them. So then finally, she's going to come clean. She says, she makes an appointment to speak to me by phone. And her coming clean was, she says, I went into your phone. She got my password somehow, went into my phone. And I saw you making arrangements to meet a woman. And I guess I was just so shocked by it that I didn't defend or anything. I didn't say, how dare you go into my phone even. I went, oh. And I used it as an opportunity to grow, because she was talking about me being on the phone all the time. So she wanted to check out what I was talking about doing on the phone. So I use this as an opportunity. I call ego evading growth opportunity. I use it, this is an opportunity for my growth. This is going to turn into something wonderful. And then we can get back together and work on this healing together. That's what my thought was. And it's great. And I just fell on the sword full on. Thank you for this. I reversed every single bit of difficulty I was having, resentment or anger or whatever it was, completely shifted into this. Wow, great. Thanks for enlightening me. My mom's been telling me that I'm on the phone too much. My kids have told me I'm on the phone too much. I do business. That's my justification, rationalization, but it's not good. It took me away from my bond with her. So I said, okay. And then I made an appointment to talk to her. I was going to surprise her, and somebody stopped me and said, no, that might feel creepy to her. I said, okay. I was going to drive to her. She's a ways away. Anyway, so we made an appointment to talk, and I felt the energy. It was Lotus. It was the same thing. Cut off, stubborn, righteous, blaming, victim, all of it coming back at me. Oh, whoa. So I said, let's shift the energy. Let's take a breath. I kind of prayed us in, No, same. Doesn't want to hear it, considers it being coached. All these things were coming up for her. And well, why would you do this to my children? She goes, I just couldn't tell you, but you were getting a house with me. Oh, sorry. And that's what Lotus does as well. Like the actions could be, I'm back in. Let's work this out. Let's not end it with actually no fights leading up to it, no patterns, nothing that can't be dealt with. Nope. And then, no, she's out. I'm done. Do you have anything else to say? She says. Yeah, I do. She would listen to it. Do you have anything else to say? Really condescending like Lotus. And it all came clear to me. I'm painting another red flag green. I wanted her to be something that she's not. And I want to believe these life coaches. I want to believe them. When she looks into that camera, I was attracted to that to begin with. I'll have to work out what that's about. One of the reasons I am doing this is as a warning. Warning myself and warning you. And she was out. I tried a number of times. And then I realized, wait a minute. Just like Lotus, she violated my trust. I had no reason for that. Now, some women would go, men are not trustworthy. That's a horrible thing to say. I didn't do anything that wasn't trustworthy. And by the way, I actually was like believing her. I go, yeah, I forgot that it wasn't even a flirtation. It was actually a business for this agency. She happens to be out here. I said, I'll meet you there. And I never even met her. I don't know. I assumed when she told me, yeah, you were making arrangements with another woman. I just went, I'm so sorry. I went right to that. And I'm going, and then I read it last night. I didn't. So that made me even more upset that she broke up with me based on a false premise that she was searching for evidence to get out. But the worst part is to do it to the children, to have them fall for her. Ugh, that's ugly. All right, I'm going to read some of these to you, and I'm going to come back and have another podcast. What I'm going to do is I'm going to probably have Lori Vallow from Sins of My Mother. A lot of people know the story of Arizona. She killed her 2 children and her husband and her brother. Well, the brother that's alive is a friend of mine. I'll probably have him on, maybe Catherine Oxenberg. I talked to her when this initially happened. Her daughter went through a Nexium cult. Horrible. She spent years trying to get her out. That's the one thing I haven't done with Lotus is I really haven't dedicated because now it's my ex-wife, but I sure wish that she would get out and be the mom that she really is. Even be the ex-wife that she really is. Be a good person that she really is. This is not a good person. Or it's the manifestation of things that are not a good person. Same with this girlfriend. Wow. It's like cruel. It's like cruel behavior. Both of them. I'm going, what in the hell did I do? I can only think it's from another life. I mean, from this life when I was bad and cheated on someone else. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I have to figure this out. But man, this was a killer. It was a gut-wrenching. Back to being single now. I went right back to, I don't want the pain. I really don't. People say, oh, no, you should sit with it. Yeah, okay. You can have your judgment all you want. I don't feel like it. Been through a lot in my life. Been through so much pain. I don't deserve to be treated like this. The disrespect she talked about women doing, that's exactly what she's done with me. It's an utter disrespect. It's not deserved. The generational stuff, I would encourage anybody to just work on that stuff. I'll continue to work on generational stuff with women, but I will tell you much. My healed women thing, I saw my mom again last week, and it's amazing. I love being with my mom. She loves being with me. She calls me up and says I relieve her depression. We laugh every time we're together. It's constant. And she still is the same person who used to bug the hell out of me. I didn't speak to her for 5 years. It's 4 years. Most amazing healing. So I know it's there. It's what I hope for in this case, and even the case with this ex-girlfriend now. I mean, I am really, really displeased, to say the least, and sad and hurt. And I'm going to have to tell these children, they'll be so hurt. And by the way, because of what their mom says, they're going to blame me. That's the thing, is men get blamed. Please, if you're listening to this with an open heart, please don't blame. I always hear women always say, oh, I don't say anything bad about the guy. Yeah, you are. You are many times. Maybe it's not you, so don't take it personal if it's not you. But I know my mom used to say it about my dad. She never said anything. She always said bad things about my dad. Always. Until his funeral. We actually laughed when she wouldn't even go to the funeral, because right up until the funeral, she was saying how bad he was to us, and he was. And she gets up, she goes, I'm going to speak. On what the hell? She gets up, she goes, he was a great guy. We laugh about that, by the way. We laugh even about that. We call her on it. Anyway, so here we go. These are translations of I'm a life coach. I'm going to end with this, okay? These are to make you laugh a little bit. I like to turn things around with a little bit of laughter. I'm a life coach. Translation, I'll charge you $200 an hour to tell you things your mom told you at bedtime. I wish there was a laugh track. I teach emotional alchemy. That's something that, if you go to Lotus's page, she teaches emotional alchemy. I said you should change it to emotional abuse. So I teach emotional alchemy. Translation, I still have no idea what that means, but I found it to be very catchy. I coach women to find their independence. That's a broke thing. Translation, I convince women to emasculate men, and that men are not needed. I'm sort of finding that a lot. Lotus and Broke got their 2 children. They got their money from their husbands and departed without working on it. I don't know what this girlfriend was up to. I am a little nervous if she would break into my phone. Like, what else is she breaking into? Whew, I took her all in, too. All in. I really thought it was love. Whew. Okay. As a life coach, I help others find their purpose. Translation, I'm still searching for mine, but why not make money while I'm at it? Next, I'm passionate about personal growth. Translation, my personal growth is how much cash I can bilk from you. I empower people to live their best lives. Translation, I'm great at giving advice, but don't ask me if I've ever done anything resembling what I ask you to do. Boy, is that the case. One thing I'm very happy, or I guess proud of, is when I even do stand-up, or when I'd like to share the stories and not the opinions and telling you what to do. You need to do this, you need to do that. That's how that all operates. That's how she got out. So when I coach, I say, oh, here's an example of what I'm coaching here. But they're not living this life. Oh, I guide people to success. Translation, success is relative, like how my rent is paid relative to how many clients I snare this month. I'm an intuitive life coach. Translation, I'll keep guessing till something sounds right. I've experienced all of this, by the way, through the years. First, she was with this, I guess I could say Raven. She was with this Raven woman, and just watching this woman pontificate from her bedroom on, it was Skype at the time, and all these women just honoring everything she said, and they see to it that you can't get out of the group, or they'll shame you. That's another thing, a cult thing. They shame you if you get out. Lotus would be so ashamed if she was even to say something nice about me in public, which she says it to me privately. That would be part of she would be chastised for it. Oh my God, how dare you say that about a man? Whew. I believe in the power of positive thinking. I'm positive that I can con you, and you're my next mark. I'm here to help you achieve your goals. Translation, as long as your goals don't involve questioning my qualifications. I'm a certified life coach. Translation, I took an online course for over a weekend and printed out a certificate. I've always had a passion for helping others. Translation, I've always had a passion for not having a real job. That's the truth. I work with clients to manifest their dreams. Translation, my dream is to keep you as a client forever, so don't get too well. I am here to hold you accountable. Translation, I'll ask you how that goal is going, and when it's not on track, I'm going to remind you it's your fault. I specialize in transformation. Translation, I'll transform your self-doubt into an expensive dependency on my services. I help people overcome their limiting beliefs, especially if the belief is that I'm selling you a pyramid scheme. It's not. It's multi-level marketing where you're empowered. I create a safe space for growth. This safe space is a Wi-Fi connection on our Zoom call. I help you unlock your potential. Translation, I'll help you unlock your PayPal. There's more. Go to my website. Go to Facebook. CraigShoemaker.com, Craig Shoemaker on Facebook. Follow me. Give me a note. Please, I'm not making any money from this. I'm hoping it's freeing some people. Hoping you're entertained, inspired, intrigued. I hope to keep you away from people like this. I really do. Me and my children have suffered from it. They lost their mom. Their mom will not. She's a good mom, by the way. Like, technically, good mom. Not good that she said all these bad things about me in the neighborhood. Certain kids can't play with my kids if they're with me. Yeah, it's pretty ugly. Asked her to correct that as well. Will not do it. So let's send her some good energy, and let's hope that she really does maybe somebody says something to her. I don't know. Maybe that's what will happen here. Maybe a relative will. I hope someone has the courage. One thing I'm proud of is I have courage. I'm always going to have courage and resiliency, and I'll thrive. Yeah, I got kicked this time, but I'll thrive. I might even find the love of my life. You never know. I don't know. I don't know what's going to come out of this. Maybe this will be an 8-part series. Those cult things are out there. I watch all of them. They're out there for a reason, because they're a warning shot. You always sit there and go, Tinder swindler. My God, how could she believe that? I believe this last girlfriend, all of it. I took it all in. I got swindled. I have to check how much money's missing. Sometimes I go, what's your karma, man? What's this all about? I did some bad stuff when I was younger. Maybe it's that. I used to destroy rich people's property. Oh, my God, I did terrible things. I don't anymore, though. I really try to do my best to live a life of high vibration, rarefied air. So I was talking about it with Akili today. I want to hang with those people. By the way, if you think you're one of those people, if you think you're in a rarefied air where you just want to be in that space of healing and loving, be loved and be healed, if you want that, you want a compadre, you want to team up, I'm here. Talk and support one another. I'm about solutions. And I would love it if you did that. If you reach out and say maybe something vulnerable, I'll share some of my vulnerable stuff as if I haven't already. I'll go have a good cry at some point, just not now, so you didn't get me. All right? So please give a nice review, rating, and spread the word. I have not no money, but I'm not going to dedicate any money to the marketing of this. I'm going to allow it to have its own flow. Genuine energy flow. If it catches on, it catches on. If it doesn't, it's okay. If 2 people listen to it, it's okay. The results are not in my hands. The results are not in my hands, especially with my ex-wife. It's not in my hands. I got to do my best. Believe me, I'm tempted to go get that restraining order. Oh, but bring in the legal system. I can guarantee you, I will listen to me. Listen to me. If you're getting divorced, don't do it. Agree not to do it and stick with the agreement. That's what the kids want. They don't want conflict. I've had game nights with her. I try my best with Lotus, and I'll continue to try. I'll keep inviting her. I'll keep opening that space. It's closed sometimes. My heart is broken, and I'm scared of her. But still, the children are always going to know at the end of the day that Dad's going to do what I did in releasing them to go on this trip, which, by the way, they thanked me, and they said they had a great time with her. She did not kidnap them. She didn't do anything like that. She's a great mom. So, but she's still programmed, and she's still part of this group, and they're still ripping people off. And so be warned. All right? I'm sending you all lots of love. I'm sending myself lots of love. I need it right now. Oh, please, one more thing. Please don't feel sorry for me. When it begins with, I feel bad for you. No, please, I'm not after your pity. It's just not who I am. I'm after, perhaps, you being inspired, you being curious, you being helpful, you being honest, you being open, you being willing, to perhaps have changes in your life you can ask me about. And yes, I still have a coaching program is alive and well. I've got all these great private coaching clients. Take you through, and we get through this together. That's why I want to live in that rarefied air. All right. See you the next time on My Wife Joined a Cult.